Big breaking news in the world of mixed martial arts today, as Sean O'Malley has actually announced himself that he's going to be fighting Petr Yan at the upcoming UFC 280 card. I'm Sean Sheehan, that's Ian O'Neill, and we're just here very quickly for a breaking news edition of the YouTube video, whatever this is called, to talk quickly about that fight here just before we jump on our preview show for UFC London this weekend. Ian, first things first, what were your initial reactions? Mine were shock, to be honest. What were yours?
I was thinking about this after you said we were going to come on, and there was three reactions. The first one was equal to yours, and that was shock. The second reaction was to go and check and see if that graphic was real, because there's a lot of fake accounts out there, and I was like, is this real? And my third thought was something that Sugar Sean O'Malley had said and was very vocal about in the past, and that was he came out speaking about his pay, speaking about not wanting to fight top level guys until he was paid better. Now, he's recently signed a brand new shiny contract, and you know what? He's getting fed those up and coming guys right now. And it's just a classic thing that the UFC like to do here, is that they like to set the precedent, and we've seen it with the news yesterday with Diaz and Hamza Chimaev. We're seeing it again today. When you come out and speak against the UFC, they will put you in these kinds of situations. This is not the first time, and it won't be the last time it happens. And they want to do that. That's how I feel is happening here. They're saying, you want to come out here, you want to talk about pay, you want to say about not fighting big up-and-coming guys until you're paid better? Well, guess what? You're paid better, and be careful what you wish for, because this is an astronomical jump for Sean O'Malley coming in here against Petr Yan.
It really is. It's massive. It's about as big a jump, I think, as you can almost get in the UFC. If you look at these fights to date in the UFC, he's had a good few fights now back in the day. You know, he obviously fought in the Contender Series, then he fought Terrion Mura Quinones Wine, and obviously lost to Chito Vera, where he injured the leg. Then he Thomas Almeida, who wasn't the same Thomas Almeida as the Thomas Almeida we all kind of knew and loved, Chris Machina, Aruli and Paiva. And in the no contest last time out with Munoz, I actually hadn't heard about the new contract, and it makes a lot more sense now, because he wasn't getting much money. Maybe he is now, and he's going to earn that money very, very quickly in this division. If you look at the 135-pound division right now, Sean O'Malley is ranked number 13. Petr Yan is ranked number 1. That isn't happening in the UFC these days. I remember there was a funny fight. I look it up here as I have the rankings up. Volkov against Rosenstruck. And I remember saying at the time, it was a number 7 against number 8. And what's on the line here is number 7 or number 8. And I'm looking on the right here, and they're both still number 7 and number 8 in the rankings, probably 3 or 4 months later. That's the way the UFC has been matchmaking over the last while. And this, I think, is why it's so shocking to people, because we're not used to seeing this matchmaking anymore. We've seen it before. I think a lot of people wanted it with Hamzat. We got a little bit with Hamzat when he fought Gilbert Burns. But the fact that the UFC has kind of been, you know, they've just been looking at the rankings, matching by the rankings, not giving us many fun fights, I think it came as a shock. So that was my first reaction, shock. I had the same reaction as you as well, to check if it was a real thing. I also saw it was Sean O'Malley announced it on like Ryan Clark's show or something. And then I waited, and Brett Akamoto said it as well. So then I believe it. It took me about 3 goes to actually believe it, that it is happening. But then my reaction after that is, well, this is a great fight. This is a really fun fight. Sean O'Malley has been putting on some good fights. He's been in the UFC for a few years now, as I said. I think it's miles too much of a jump straight away for Sean O'Malley, but I also think it's going to be a fun fight. O'Malley's a good striker. He fights in the outside, throws big, hard kicks. We hear all the time about his jiu-jitsu. You know, we've seen Petr Yan struggle with jiu-jitsu against Aljamain Sterling. Is he going to do that against O'Malley? I probably wouldn't think so. But the difference between O'Malley striking and Yan striking is this kind of, I suppose, safe, outside the pocket distance striking with a lot of impact when he lands, whereas Yan is pace, forward pressure, impact. He had issues in the fight against Sterling when Sterling was kind of moving away and moving around. He wasn't able to cut the cage. A lot of that maybe was his head going into that fight was kind of taken away with all the madness of it. I'm sure Sean O'Malley will talk shit here. I'm sure he'll be trying to get into the head of Petr Yan here as well. So it's a very interesting fight. I think there are lots of very different different integers coming into this one. Now, I think Petr Yan will win. I think he's massively favoured in this fight. But it's, you know what? It's a fun fight, and I'm looking forward to it. Are you looking forward to it?
I am looking forward to it. I mean, for Sean O'Malley, he's getting the chance to go in there with elite level competition. So he's going to truly find out where he stands with his skill set. And I think, yeah, it's going to be. I think if Peter Yan fights the correct fight, he could pretty easily beat Sean O'Malley. Sean O'Malley does pose some threats on the feet, is awkward, does like to fight on the outside, like you said. But I think Peter Yan is very well diverse in his striking, very well capable of coming at you from different ranges, from different angles. And to me, this is just kind of like a good test to see where Sean O'Malley is really at. Because if he goes out there and gets blown out of the water, well, then we know he has a good bit to go. If he goes out there and fights a competitive fight and loses, well, then we know that he has enough to mix it up with the elite level guys. And if he goes out there and gets the win, well, Jesus, I don't know. I don't know what we're going to do then. I don't know, throw a party or something. I don't know.
A win here is star making. If Sean O'Malley wins this fight, he is going to be a star, like, immediately. People are talking now about him as a star. He isn't. He really isn't. Just not even close. But if he beats Yan, he will be a legitimate top level fighter with the wins to prove it, and with all this like hype and with all this glamour behind him and the purple Mercedes or Lamborghinis or whatever he's had. It's going to be to the moon for Sean O'Malley. And like, the thing about it is, we will turn it from some people saying he's going to be really good, some people looking at his game and thinking he's going to be good, some people, you know, buying into the hype of him being really good. And if he wins, we have proof he's really, really good. So that, to me, is what intrigues me about this fight. Do I think it should be made? Probably not. Do I think it's the right time? Probably not. Do I think he should be brought along a little bit more? Yeah. I think he was being brought along too slow for a while, and now it's too fast. So, like,
well, we're gone from second gear into fifth gear
into seventh gear, maybe.
yeah.
But what a fight, anyway. I'm really looking forward to it. We'll answer so many questions about Sean O'Malley here. From the other side, before we leave it here, what about from Peter Yan's side? Because this is almost a lose-lose situation for Yan. He's expected to beat O'Malley. A lot of people, like, O'Malley went from like hype to like, oh, there's hype, you know, kind of. And if he goes in there and he beats Yan will have lost 2 title fights in a row. Okay, the first one was a disqualification. It was a bit weird. And then he'll have lost to Sean O'Malley. Now, as I said, we all favour Yan. I'm sure you favour Yan. I favour Yan as well. But if he loses, this is a risky fight for Peter Yan, isn't it?
Yeah, I think both fighters, I think, can take credit for taking this fight as well, for different reasons and for different trajectories. Because, I mean, there's a lot on the line for Peter Yan. He's fighting for his ranking. I think he's probably looking at this fight, get a win in the books, and look to challenge for the belt again. Credit to him for taking. There's a lot of fighters there that have said the opposite of what Sean O'Malley said, and said that they don't want to fight elite level guys until they're paid better. Well, guys who are at that elite level status have refused to fight unranked or lower ranked guys in the division because they don't want to lose that status if they do lose. So, you know, you have to give Peter Yan credit, but he's obviously taken this fight because he's uber confident and he expects to get the win. But, you know, man, you never know what can happen when the cage door closes. It's as unpredictable as anything is mixed martial arts.
100%. You absolutely hit the nail on the head. You never know. And we will see when they fight at UFC 280. I think one last interesting point as well is, I've always maintained, you look at the rise of McGregor, right? And he took chances for small pay. That's something I think since McGregor has gone and since he's got a lot of money, I don't think many people are wanting to do that. They're all wanting to get McGregor money before they take, and without even taking the McGregor chances to get to the McGregor level. I'm not, okay, I am comparing Sean O'Malley to McGregor here. I'll say it, because this is a McGregor sort of chance. This is the sort of the fight McGregor would have taken back in the day to get to the very, very top, even if it's not for big money. And you know what? That's how you become a star. I said it at the start of this podcast, and I'll say it again. That's how you become a star, and fair play to Sean O'Malley for aiming for the stars. We will leave it there. That's Ian O'Neill. I'm Sean Sheehan. This is SevereMMA.com. We'll see you next time.